California meets Brooklyn and show the beauty of California with the elements and the guys from New York, because Muggs was from Queens, so I'll include him as well. So New York guys, Coolin in the elements of California, Coolin in Cali.
What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. And as y'all know, that enables us to keep coming to you guys as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. And we appreciate your guys' support, getting us this far. And of course, please hit us on that Cash App if you're so inclined, Unique Access ENT. Now, today for Cover Story, we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by Sean B. from the incredible 7A3. Thank you for coming through, Sean.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, nice shirt you got there representing the crew.
I'm getting yours. I got it.
I appreciate it. But yes, for 7A3, we got the Coolin in Cali album for Cover Story. And this album, the cover is so intriguing to me because it represents you guys, but it also represents your relocation to Los Angeles. So what, how and why, before we get to the specific photo, do you remember coming up with the album title and then wanting to, what was the concept you guys were aiming for the cover?
Well, the album title came from the title of the song Coolin in Cali. And it just became what we were gonna theme the song, what we were gonna theme the album over. It wasn't something that, it came after the song. So it wasn't something like we had this concept for an album and then we did the record. We actually did the record and that became conceptually the album or the song, seeing that it was gonna be the first single. So the album cover was done by Glenn Friedman, infamous photographer now in the world of hip hop. And the vision was it was his vision, just have the elements of guys from East New York, Brooklyn, Coolin in Cali. And so going to the beach was the almost no-brainer of a background, background to be able to have us guys just in just regular clothes being on the beach, Coolin in Cali. And so that's how it started. And we wanted some beautiful women to represent California. We wanted palm trees, of course, and that's a lot of the elements that we had on each of the covers. It started out with all of the covers were done at the same time with the Y Party Time. Party Time was a single. So we did this photo shoot around the same time, and he just kind of designed the single cover first with the palm trees, us sitting on the Benz and UCLA paraphernalia, Adidas paraphernalia, and then we went ahead and we did the beach scene with the women. A couple of those was our girlfriends, I believe. And we just had sitting on the beach with the women in the background. And we wanted to have the ambiance or Glenn wanted to have the ambiance of California meets Brooklyn and show the beauty of California with the elements and the guys from New York, because Muggs was from Queens, so I'll include him as well. So New York guys, Coolin in the elements of California, Coolin in Cali.
Now, Glenn Friedman is one of the more, as you mentioned, alluded to, one of the more prominent hip hop photographers, especially of this era. He done Ice-T, LL, so many different people. So at that point, were you super familiar with who he was? Did the label come to you with him as an idea? Like, how did it happen?
It was a combination of the two. He was one of the hot photographers at that time. But you got to realize all of those classic and monumental covers had not yet been successful. So it wasn't like he had that success to where we knew we needed him, but he definitely was that person who was the eyes, especially on the West Coast. No, not especially, no. He was the eyes of hip hop at that point, the lens rather of hip hop. And so because he was sought after and he was doing so much work, it definitely is why we wanted to hire him to do it. And, he was visionary. And so that vision of that I just shared with you, Coolin and Cali, came from him. And hearing or seeing the title of the single. I'm not sure if he heard it as of yet, but him seeing it and then eventually hearing it, it all kind of fell into place as far as the song in itself demanded that visual.
Coolin and Cali, going far. Introduction to a brand new star. Coming from the West, Hollywood, best believe to go with good.
So it all kind of embodies. So once you listen to it, it was easy for him to come up with a concept, visual concept. And that's what he did. And that was where he was like, all right, I want to take them on the beach and I want to have them in front of palm tree, hanging on the beach, underneath palm tree. A lot of it was elements of the song. And he just basically built on those elements.
And do you remember what beach you went to or what specific area?
Yep, Venice Beach.
Do you remember why you guys picked Venice?
I mean, it was the most popular beach. The Rocks wasn't Venice. It was either Santa Monica or Malibu, because Venice, was more popular for the skateboarding. And, Venice Beach was a place to go. It was a monumental landmark when it came to California, to Los Angeles specifically. So that was just a place to go where we knew we would have some activity and we would be able to feed off of the vibe that was there as well.
Okay. And do you remember specifically how or why you guys picked the clothes you wore?
Well, we were sponsored by Adidas at the time. Oli was gearing us up. So it had a lot to do with that, our sponsorship with Adidas, or our connection with Adidas. It wasn't like a contractual sponsorship like they do now, but it definitely was a sponsorship that they were providing us the wardrobe, and they provided it. They sponsored us to where we were able to have the gear. It wasn't like a photo shoot where they're pulling clothes. No, they were sponsoring and just making sure we had Adidas. So that had a lot to do with what we were wearing.
That makes it easy.
Other than we went to UCLA because that was conceptual. We wanted me to be in, like a college kid. I was just getting out of high school and wanted the elements of college. And so I had on a Bruins hat with the UCLA hoodie because they wanted to have, what they did conceptually, they wanted some clean cut guys who had a good look about themselves and didn't have any controversy. That was kind of Geffen's brainchild and how we were sold to Geffen. So all of those visuals were trying to reflect that.
Okay. And then with Muggs, do you remember, him, obviously you and Brent are brothers. Do you remember why or how you guys, did you line up strategically? Is that just a photo you used? Did you have different layouts?
Well, Muggs, it was, Muggs was actually anti. He hated, doing and wearing the clothes that was sponsored. He wanted to wear his own clothes. He was trying to be rebellious then, but like I said, the opportunity that we had, he really couldn't have that much rebellion, especially seeing that he was just invited to the group by us. So, but he really didn't feel comfortable doing a lot of that. He'd rather be in his own clothes. And we was like, yo, free gear, let's do it, So, it wasn't, Glenn might have strategically put us in a format, but no, it wasn't something that we did personally, creatively.
And I think too, it's important for people to understand that at this time in the game, people would have done single covers and album covers at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody thinks these lavish budgets and you guys have all this money and the labels are so powerful and can do whatever they want to do. But back in 87, 88, that wasn't necessarily the case. So,
right.
So strategically, do you remember the discussion hey, we got to knock out these photos for the album cover, for single covers, for everything? Or was that just...
Yeah, that was part of having a deal at the time. And Glenn, because he had already did albums, he already had that in mind. All right, we got to do it for single. We got to do it for this. So he already had in his mind the different elements that were going to be necessary to complete the whole visual for the campaign of the album. So what we didn't do is the singles, like the Drums of Steel, we did those afterwards. But in the Coolin in Cali, the Y, that was all designed as a package deal so that we can get all of the elements that will be needed for the first single, the album cover, promo pics, all of that stuff kind of packaged into one deal.
Okay. And now looking back, what do you think is the legacy of the Coolin and Cali album cover by 7A3?
Yet to be determined. There's still some things that you will find out about 7A3, including the other businesses that we're doing. And you know, we've always had some ideas that Muggs, Brett, and I spoke about that still is unfinished business. So stay tuned. You'll understand 7A3 a lot more as the legacy continues.
All right, well, there it is. Well, Sean B., thanks for coming through the cover story. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me again.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
A 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Your MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.